All right, I think it's time to get started. Welcome to the secure section group conversation. This is also the start of a new group conversation cycle. I'm your host, Kenny Johnston. I'll start with questions. Cindy had one preloaded about some Periscope data. So for those who are unaccustomed, Periscope gives us insight into a bunch of different data. In this case, it is a view of our usage ping data, which is data that's reported back from self-managed instances, typically in the form of kind of counters of various tasks that the product has been instrumented for. My response is, honestly, I should probably be more familiar with that data, but there's a little bit of a block in the integrity of that data, or I guess usefulness of that data. There are a couple of things going on that make it difficult to interpret that specific dashboard. The first is that it's not normalized, it's just raw counts from all instances. And there are a couple of others that we have some concerns about how that usage ping has been instrumented. The product organization as a whole has an effort to improve our confidence in usage ping data and improve what we call our SMAO metrics, which is what that's meant to capture. But the example I would give is, for instance, it not being normalized. When somebody turns off usage ping, that can cause significant drops in usage ping metrics. And we don't really know a great way to account for that. But the example I gave in written form was that if an ultimate customer was using scan significantly and then in 1 month decided to turn that off, that would show in the raw numbers as a significant drop. And so we need to make sure we're diving in and understanding where those counts are coming from and where the drops are.
Kenny, can I hop in here?
Sure, of course, Emily.
So one piece of information too, if you look at the February data, there's a drop. And so the big jump in March, since we know the usage ping is a counter, it always goes up and to the right. The fact that it goes down in February indicates that a big part of the jump in March is actually February data coming to us for the first time.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Sid, you had the next question. Do you want to verbalize? Oh, you're on mute, Sid.
Sorry, for sure. Thanks for inviting me. Customers are comparing us to best-in-point solutions like check marks, and I want to get some understanding of like, how do we compare? Can we measure that? How are we improving? Can we measure that? How often do we update our database of vulnerabilities? How often do we want to update it? Is it documented somewhere? How are customers feeling about this? And just some context around this.
Yeah, okay, so I'll start with how do we compare, and then Philippe, I saw you responding also. For everyone's awareness, we track our categories and components of the product in the secure stage as well, in something that we call category maturity. And so we list like SAST and DAST, I think we list them as viable with a plan to get them to complete. Viable is really like could be useful for a production workload. Complete is could actually replace a competitor such as Checkmarx. So we are not at the stage where we would consider them complete and able to compete. It's funny, we have a number of customers who come with existing tools who want to integrate them. They've already made a purchase and they want to integrate them, but what they value from GitLab is that it's integrated into the merge request, that their developers can see results immediately, that they get the dashboards for the security teams. But we tell those third parties that we might integrate that we aspire to eliminate the need for them, but we're still willing to partner and integrate where our customers need it and where they are willing to contribute. So I would say our comparison in general is not that we are a complete replacement for those kind of best-in-breed scanning tools. I don't have specific numbers. I don't know if you've ever run a comparison of specific scanning fidelity against the two. Philippe, I don't know if you have an answer to those. There's a couple of different, I'll just add, there's a couple of different dimensions to the scanning, our ability to compete in those scanners. And that also includes the types of languages. So we might not have coverage for all languages, but maybe we do compete if you're running a Ruby and Java application or scanning a Ruby and Java application. how are we improving? In the deck, there's a section that we've started to move to in general as a product organization to, as we're planning category maturity increments, so from viable to complete, we create epics that include both initial research to determine what would be required to replace the existing products, as well as then track the issues for that completeness. And so in the deck, I can't remember the slides, it's going to be in slide 10. We have the links to all the maturity increment epics for them. Some of them are in various states of completion. Some just have the initial research. Others have issues already planned for them.
Kenny?
Yeah.
If I can chime in on the first
Sure.
topic, there's a difference in the discussions that we have with customers this year compared to last year, especially regarding third-party solutions like checkmarks. Last year, we had customers asking for something better than what we had. I don't know, checkmarks on Arcube or whatever. This year, it's a bit different. We are seeing customers that are happy with the current package that we're providing because they are just started with security and it's good enough for them. But they are not asking for something else. They are asking for checkmarks support, for example, if they already have checkmarks. So the gap that we have is that we don't support these third parties right now. We should get better on this in the coming months. And, you know, when we start discussions with customer, we should be able in a few months to say, okay, you are using checkmarks or this or this. It's a no-brainer. We are supporting this. You're going to have all the results in the same UI inside GitLab directly. And that's exactly what they want. They want to stay inside GitLab and avoid having multiple reports, multiple UIs, multiple points of authentication and kind of things. So the more we will integrate these solutions, the better we will be. Does that make sense?
Is that a lot of work to do that, to integrate with these other providers? And can we have them do some of the work?
So we already started that. I can add an issue to the doc afterwards. We already started with Detectify. We have some discussion with SonarQube. We can say that publicly because we have some issues that are public. We plan to have more in the future, but I guess we need to work with Kenny on prioritizing this because right now the only resource that we have on this topic is myself, and I struggle to move forward on this kind of topic. So this is something that should be in the roadmap at some point.
And the answer to your direct question, Sid, is yes. Our starting point is that the third parties would work to do the integration. There's some enablement that I think we need to do in terms of an API for submission and for bidirectionality, but yeah, I'll also find the issue. But I've been working with Brandon and the Alliance team to make sure that we have a first, I guess our first posture is that they perform the integration.
Cool, that makes sense.
So I covered how we're improving, and then how often do we update the database? I'm not sure who wrote the weekly one, but weekly is the answer.
That was me, sorry.
And how are customers feeling about it? I mean, I'll share some anecdotes. Some customers express excitement that they can have easily have engineering teams start doing scanning like immediately, that the scans are available out of the box, that they can know that that is at least happening and it's kind of pushed more towards the engineering teams. Other ones are not happy with the fidelity of our bundled scanners, especially in languages that we're not dogfooding coincidentally. So we have some large customers who are using Python who, when they start using the scanners for Python, realize that they just haven't been as battle tested as some other languages. And yeah, a number of customers, I spoke to one on Friday who was not a current Ultimate customer, but was really interested in the dashboarding. They have built their own homegrown dashboarding tool that integrates a bunch of different scanners, different companies' scanners results across a number of projects. And we're really interested in the capability of just having the centralized security dashboard.
Thank you.
Sure. Sid, that was a large multi-part question. Do you feel like you have any follow-ups? Anything else?
No,
That's
thank
happy to
you.
cover.
I don't want to be hogging the questions. Next one is Cindy.
Cool.
Yeah, I was just interested to know how or if we're tracking and measuring customer satisfaction.
I think the answer is we're not. We have a plan in the product organization to do a survey for to basically capture stage level customer sat. We have things like UX recently did a SUS score that included components for each stage. We get feedback when customers, there's a certain path when customers interact with our support team where they express like a concern or a negative feedback about the product, and we get notified on those, although I'll say that process has been working for about a month and I haven't seen any related to Secure. We have a couple of UX research projects, but those are more exploratory for future roadmap definition, not necessarily for satisfaction with current capabilities. Okay, Scott, next question.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
I can.
All right, couple things. First of all, regarding the first question about SMAO data dropping in May, we think there was a data integrity issue behind the scenes. The data analysts and engineers are on it, which impacted data in May and partially in June. So part of that's probably not real, that dip. Secondly, Cindy, on customer sat, I just also wanted to point out the UX team has been doing experience baseline research in each area, which gives us a sense for customer satisfaction in a particular area. And as Kenny mentioned, we do want to start getting into doing surveying of the customer base about their assessment of product market fit in each of the stages as an input to the product team. We're not sure how we're going to do that yet. We're probably just going to start with a survey, but you can imagine that maybe being built into our own product or Pendo or something. So we hope to get more regular inputs on customer sat by stage pretty soon. And then my question, Kenny, is at a thematic level, what's your #1 priority for Secure?
I think it's to what Sid was mentioning. I want to make sure that we are complete in those stages such that it would obviate the need for competitive scanning tools.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at our roadmap for the remainder of the year, it's moving a significant number of stages that, keep in mind, we're at minimal at the start of this year to complete. And that's a Herculean effort that the engineering team has been awesome at driving and standing up to. But yeah, I think really it is about driving to completeness for for the number of our categories that are in that slide 10.
Thank you.
Sure. Since there aren't any questions, I did want to just add this, and I know we're not supposed to have pre-recorded content, but I would also point out that the Secure stage, as it started this year, has also seen significant amount of growth in terms of the engineering group, and was the first guinea pig for splits and is now doing a second split. So kudos to the engineering organization for growing rapidly and splitting rapidly and kind of leading the path as the company grows for how to do stage to group splits. Okay, no countdowns. If there aren't any other questions, please join us in S_secure for any follow-ups.
I have one last thing. I'm not sure. When did we name the secure section? Because I find it confusing that we have a secure group and a secure section.
If you remember, we had something called sub-departments, and we said that 2 of the sub-departments, Secure and Defend, would have only one stage. So they are unique in that they only have one stage, but they have a number of groups. So for instance, if you think of the ops section, it has 2 groups in configure and 2 groups in monitor. In this case, we just don't have the stage level split between them.
Cool. Yeah, I'll think of a new name for this section because I think it should have a unique name. So thinking like shield or resilience, or we'll make something up that I'll
Cool.
discuss with Scott.
Sounds good. Oh, sorry. Now I'm saying you're saying there's both a secure stage and a secure section, and that's a duplicative name. It's not messy foo. Got it.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
Same
Doesn't
for
look like we have
defense.
In this case, if I just may, there is some work ongoing, especially on my side, on naming things and filling the gaps on our offer. And I started to look at something called the SAM project at OWASP. And there are some terms that seems to be largely used by the industry. So if we need to name something, I would advise to take a look at this first, instead of creating a new name that we might need to map in the future.
Cool. Can you Slack that to me, please?
Sure, I will send that right
And
away. Thanks.
While we're on the topic of names, we still need to kind of reconsider the software composition analysis, because from an industry term that includes SaaS, yet we have SaaS and DaaS separate. So it can create some confusion if we use those terms externally.
Yeah, Cindy, on Friday, I created an issue and asked for your emoji vote on it. So
Oh, okay.
I'll Slack you on it. I'd love for your input.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. It was late on Friday.
Thanks, Kenny. Great work.
Hey,
Thanks, Shell. Bye.